You're awfully quiet over there, curly-haired man.
Curly-haired sandal man.
Oh, curly-haired sandal man.
Yes.
Are you going to stay quiet?
No.
In today's 2A Procast, we have been formally called out by T-Rex Arms and LucAss Botkin for products that we manufacture and sell, and we are going to address those claims today. We are going to prove that everything he is saying is completely false, and it is. We are going to use facts. Large medical suppliers
Some
out
that
there.
we consider the gold standard.
Yeah, absolutely consider the gold standard. And even LucAss Botkin considers the gold standard because he sells them on his website, which they source from China.
And you'll see right here in this screenshot that I'm popping up that he also knows that it's from China.
Because he writes made in China right on his website. Here, how about this? How about if you don't want to come on to a podcast and address this like gentlemen, then you can handle this like barbaric men, because Nolan, you're open to. Why don't you just make the announcement right now?
Yeah, dude, I'm super down to UFC fight you. Let's get in a cage.
You're awfully quiet over there, curly-haired man.
Curly-haired sandal man.
Oh, curly-haired sandal man.
Yes.
Are you going to stay quiet?
No.
Okay. In today's 2A Procast.
Oh, it's curly hair flip-flop, dude.
Oh, curly-haired
Damn
flip-flop,
it.
dude. In today's 2A Procast, we have been formally called out by T-Rex Arms and LucAss Botkin for products that we manufacture and sell, and we are going to address those claims today. We are going to prove that everything he is saying is completely false, and it is. We are going to use facts.
Yes.
Not conjecture, not some subjective opinion, but
Nope.
we're going to use facts to be
Not
able to.
speculation, not...
Yeah, and he said you were going to be quiet. We're not going to be fucking quiet because we're not quiet. So
Well, it wasn't him, it was somebody else, but
Okay.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, birds of a feather.
They flock together. So here's the deal, guys. Criticism, everybody faces criticism in whatever you're in, whether it's a sport, whether it's the market, whether it's just daily life. You will face criticism, which is okay, and criticism is good. But criticism to the point of lying without data to back you up, without actually testing something, and just slandering
right.
is inexcusable to a point.
That's right.
And so,
Look, I don't mind if you guys go out there and you can make fun of me.
Yeah.
You could talk a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Just don't talk about my wife or my kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, quite
You make
simple.
fun of me all day long.
absolutely.
Right? However, when it comes to just incorrectly representing who we are as a company and what we're doing, we need to set the record straight. Because
Correct.
That's also where I'm going to draw the line.
Because if you're going to go on the internet and say that we're con men, if you're going to go on the internet and say that we're going to sell you products that are going to fail when you need them, especially when it comes to medical and or body armor,
Right.
I've got a problem.
Yeah.
Got a problem with that.
We take it seriously because we take all of our QC seriously, we take our manufacturing seriously, and we take our mission statement incredibly seriously, which is, as you guys know, it's giving everybody access, giving every American access to high quality and affordable gear, regardless of your budget. So
It's to make everything common use.
Right.
So
It's to make it
if
exactly.
every person in the United States has a firearm and body armor, if the government comes in and says, "Hey, this isn't normal. Nobody has this stuff," we can look at them and go, "You're fucking lying."
yeah.
And
From
so
our numbers alone, I mean, the amount, I can't give a specific number because I haven't ran the report yet for this year, but I know that we have sold millions of units of defense items. So millions of units of defense
And
items.
thank you to each and every one of you.
Thank you. And the reason why I bring that up is because if there are millions of just our company's defense items floating around out there, then that is in effect common use, especially when you multiply it by all of our competition.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah. So let's address
Let's dive in.
Let's address what he said. First of all, why don't you talk about where this comment came out of, the original video, which was
Yes. So the good old L Train, LudiBot, he made a video on Chinese optics.
Right.
And it was a quick little Instagram video where he ordered an optic from China and then made references saying, I won't name the company, or I won't name the companies that do this, but you can name them down below in the comments.
Yeah. I'm going to be so professional.
I'm going to be so professional that I'm not going to say, I won't say any names because I want to hide behind anonymity, which, okay.
No, fuck no. Not okay. Say names.
Say names.
If that's how you feel, why are you fucking...
If you got a problem with someone.
Yeah.
Say it.
Say it.
Say it. So that led on to me going into the comments and seeing what he was talking about.
That's right.
And I wanted to see what people were saying. And so this comment from Sarkisian says, curly hair flip-flop dude is going to be real quiet about this one. Now, all of our viewers, you probably know who that's in reference to. If you know another curly-haired flip-flop dude in the gun space, please inform me.
Yeah, you got curly
I have
hair
to fight him to the death. To which Lucas at T-Rex Arms responds, he literally sells cat tourniquets made in China that will fail you when you need them. Grifter. Now, this is not the first time he's made a comment like this. He's made comments like this in the past where he says, oh, your cat tourniquets are made in China. They're going to get people killed. I've seen it multiple times. I'll try and dig as much as I can, but finding old comments in Instagram can be difficult, especially when people like to delete their comments.
Yeah.
And turn off their comment threads.
Yeah. Which he did. Didn't he turn off the comment thread on this one?
Yeah, it's back on now, though.
Oh, he turned it back on.
So,
how about that?
And then I saw another post, which was a story share on Instagram from the_village_medic, to which he said, bet he feels really badass after selling people Chinese tourniquets, likely non-sterile gauze and steel plates. Thumbs up. I don't care how well liked you are. Misleading and endangering your customers' lives makes you a piece of shit.
Okay. Well, today we're going to do some demonstrations, obviously. So what Nolan is holding right now is a heart rate monitor.
$28, mind you.
We have 4 tourniquets that have been randomly pulled. They are still in the packaging, so it's not like we went through and just picked the good ones out. We did a random pull on our tourniquets from our inventory. And what we are going to do today is we are going to apply these tourniquets both to your arm.
Me.
Because you're wearing a t-shirt right now.
Yes.
We are going to show you guys that it actually takes your heart rate from whatever your resting heartbeat is,
Correct.
or whatever your resting heart rate is, all the way down to
0.
Yep.
Because the goal of the tourniquet is to cut off blood flow to the wound that is, right? You have a bad wound. It's not a little paper cut. You have a bad wound, whether it's a gaping hole in your arm, your leg, whatever it may be, and it's to cut off the circulation of blood so you quit spurting, so you stop squirting.
right.
Yeah.
So there's another reason why we're doing this, and it is important that we address this because his audience is far larger than ours, and I don't give a shit about like what it does to the company and what it does to the brand, whatever he's doing over there.
Right.
But spreading misinformation to other Americans that if you don't buy this one particular thing, then you're wrong and you just need to save up, or in his words, don't be poor.
Yes.
So
Just don't be poor. Just make more money.
just make more money.
Just make more
don't
money.
be poor. Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason why we got to address this is because if that information is being disseminated to a very, very wide audience, and that audience are Americans, that is in effect the militia, then we need to set the record straight. So hopefully, I'm not saying that I need to convert people from fucking T-Rex to Tacticon by any means, but what I'm trying to tell you is the information is fucking false.
Yes.
And it's going to put people's lives in danger. And when we really need the community to come together, if shit ever does hit the fan, we need people to have access to some equipment, even if it's not the Gucciest of the equipment.
Because I'll put it like this. Maybe 3-4 years ago, buying a $36 tourniquet, I think that's what they are. I might be off by a couple dollars, but buying a $36 tourniquet a couple years ago to me was like, I don't know if I can swing that. Plus shipping, $40-$45, whatever
Yep.
it might be. I don't have just like that money to drop. Still now I'll question it, right? And so it's life-saving equipment. If it's something like that, if it was for me, I'm sure it's for somebody else.
Right.
There's 7 billion people on the planet. 356 million of them are in the United States. There's bound to be 1 or 2 more. And so to say things like that, or to say, hey, you need X amount of money for a rifle, your whatever Palmetto State Armory won't cut it.
Right.
It's spreading a false narrative.
It is.
Yes.
It's not true.
No.
It's just blatantly not true. So why do we really get onto it? Because his exact comment was, their shit's made overseas and it will fail when you need it. So let's say you need a tourniquet right now. We'll go ahead and we will cut this one open. I'll pop a little hole. We'll take it out. You guys can see me unwrapping it from the package. It is new. I'm going to hand it over to Nolan. You're going to apply said tourniquet to your arm.
Yep, that smells new.
And I will put this on your finger.
So we'll get a pulse first to show that that works.
Great idea.
And I'm going to record it on my phone as well because the camera autofocus might not be able to catch it. So I'm going to record it on my phone and play it side by side with you guys here. So please apply to finger and video start, turn on, okay, and let's get a pulse. There I am, living, breathing, healthy. 99.83.
You know what's funny is when you and I were talking in the other room, you had
hold
a
that for me?
resting. You had a resting.
It's dropping. We're dropping down.
It's funny because you had a resting heart rate of like 65.
Yes.
And since we got all hyped up here now, it's
so heated, dude. All right. So
he is applying the tourniquet.
I'm going to put it over my shirt because I don't want to pinch the shit out of my skin. What I was taught in my TCCC class was to apply the windlass on the inside towards the brachial artery. So let's get that seated here. Okay. We're tight. Oh, it's going to pinch me. Whatever. So we're here. We're still reading on the monitor. My heart rate's going up because I'm excited. Let's start. Okay. 1 half turn. 1 full turn. So that's 2 half turns. 2.5 turns. Oops.
And your heart rate monitor
It's skyrocketed.
It's gone.
Oh, it's gone. Oh, it's already gone. So let's go ahead and crank that in. Oh, God, this sucks. If you guys have never put on a tourniquet before, I envy you. This shit sucks. Okay. And it is set in. Let me make sure that's on there.
All right, so there's no pulse being registered, and if no pulse is being registered, that means the blood flow has stopped to that appendage, meaning if you were bleeding out of an artery on that...
Let's even try and reset that on my finger, see if I can get a pulse there.
Okay. I'm going to take it off. Finger is out. It even says finger is out.
Okay.
We're going to put that...
Put it back on.
Back on there. And I will hit the button again.
On. Okay, we'll hold it like this. This sucks. I feel my arm going numb as is.
All right, so we can see that he's essentially flatlined so far as the device is concerned. Dead. And he's clearly applied the tourniquet. So if you want to, why don't you also, do you want to walk up to the camera and show him, or are we good on this footage you got on your phone?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and turn because I can zoom in there because it's focused on me right now.
Yep.
So there it is.
There it is. Put it on the other finger.
There's the tourniquet. Yep, we'll put it on the other finger so it's not reading. And onto my good finger with a pulse, and my heart rate's probably skyrocketed.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to get it to... There you go. We're getting it now. You are... There we go. Yep, you're 99/74.
Am I alive?
You're alive.
I'm alive here. All right, let's switch it back over once more.
Yep. So.
No pulse.
So clearly it works,
it's going
but
numb.
Hold on. You may have just pulled a good one.
Yep, maybe I pulled a fast one. All right, let's do it again.
Let's get that off there.
Oh. So that was, here, let's count it. That was 1, 2, it was about 2.5 to 3 half rotations.
Okay, so.
And heart rate is back. Ooh, skyrocketing too.
Here's another tourniquet coming out of the packaging. Unused. Brand new.
Okay.
We'll do it one more time, and then we have another device that we're going to test these on to just show you how many turns it actually takes. Oh, yeah. You crank that baby on there.
Yeah.
Real nice.
Yeah. Oh, big shout out to American Lichter for this sweet t-shirt. Thanks, guys. Okay.
All right, so you're putting it on. Give me your finger real quick.
Yep.
I'm going to put that in there.
Turn it on. Here we go. All right. So tourniquet has not been tightened.
Okay. You're recording a pulse. Go ahead.
There we are. All right. I'm alive. Let's get this on there. Start. And that is 1/2 turn. That is 1 full turn. And that is 1.5 turns. Son of a bitch. That should be enough.
Okay. And you still have a, hold on. We're waiting. Give me a sec.
Just trying to see too. I'll crank it down harder if I need to. Caught my armpit there.
All right. And so it is now registered. It just switched over. There is no pulse. You have stopped bleeding out. And on the arm that you do not have a tourniquet attached to, you do have a pulse, which is right there. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is, but again, according to him, these will fail. Here's the big issue that we really have right now is that instead of just being like, hey, do you mind sending me some so I can try them?
Yeah. So can I test them?
Can I test them?
I feel like these won't work. I want to try it.
Absolutely. Or instead of ordering them, so at random they get sent to him, and we don't even know that they're being sent to him, so we can't QC them properly. He's just pulling basically random lots and doing it. Yeah, you're definitely bruised and pinched on the inside of there. So instead of doing any of that, it's just, let me feed my own narrative.
Let me badmouth a company without doing any testing.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, there are a lot of things that a lot of companies make that cost too much money.
Right.
Right. For what they are intended to do. And I genuinely believe, we had a conversation about this yesterday, but I genuinely believe that what is happening right now is technology and scale has caught up with the market currently. Mm-hmm. And people are still trying to charge more for firearm-related and defense-related items, even when they don't necessarily need to be. Perfect example, right? Computers.
Right.
They used to be $10,000 for a personal computer.
Massive.
Which, $10,000 back in like the late 90s for a PC was in today's...
Probably like 20 grand.
Yeah, in today's dollars, it's between 20 to 25 grand. So if we're looking at it from that perspective, sure, maybe when the red dot first came out, maybe when like gun lights first came out and flashlights first came out that could handle recoil, those prices needed to be at, $300, $400, $500, $600.
Right.
But technology has since caught up,
Correct.
right? Imagine the little laser pointers that you had, right? Those things used to be incredibly expensive, but due to our global economy and due to the scale of technology, things do not cost that much anymore.
No mas.
So now we have to get on the tip of the spear and start inventing technology that doesn't exist to make us more effective. It doesn't mean that we continue to iterate and improve on a fucking rifle light that will handle the recoil regardless. Dude, lights are, we should actually test that. We should, for example, I know we're talking about medical here, but we should go down to Home Depot and buy a $20 flashlight
and
just tape it to a fucking rifle.
They used to tape mag lights to FALs.
I know.
Like, is there any more that I need to say on that?
Just because it goes on a gun doesn't mean it has to be like the cream of the crop. When can we finally get together and understand that there are certain things that just aren't necessary anymore? And when can we finally all come together in the firearm community and also understand that we shouldn't be gouging American citizens for the things that are going to eventually save not only our lives, but save our freedoms, preserve our freedoms. So,
right. And something along with that too is like, I think about some of these big names and let's just use Surefire. And this isn't talking shit about Surefire. They've been making these lights for a very long time. They're a very large company. They make great products.
They make the best lights in the industry.
They make the best lights in the industry. I think we can all agree upon that.
Yeah.
But at what point does their R&D for that light have not caught up?
Right.
When do they, like, Your,
Well,
your extrusion or your CNC machining.
Right.
Like at some point, you got to be recouped your cost.
Right.
Right.
And then once you recoup your fixed costs, then you begin to scale, right? And now the only thing that you have left are variable costs of making each individual product, at which you've done it for so long and have become so efficient that your prices should go down, not up, but that's not what we're seeing.
Correct.
Right? And I get it. Like inflation fucking happens.
Yes,
all the raw materials
absolutely.
went up, shipping went up, freight went
Absolutely.
up, labor went up, right? We
felt that.
That happened to us too.
Everyone's felt that.
But when our price goes up, by 20, 30%, that means our $45 IWB holster goes up to $60, right? Whatever. That doesn't mean, but when you get somebody that sells, a $100 holster, that means it goes to $200 or I'm sorry, $125 to $130.
Mm-hmm.
It's a significant margin increase when you already have a high price.
Correct.
So this is what I am getting at with this entire thing. I'm not saying that we in the firearm industry should have a race to the bottom. There are certain developments that people have come up with, companies that have come up with specifically, that are actually better for the end user. Example, my Surefire that I carried while I was in the Army, when I was deployed, had a IR lens cover.
Right.
So when you ran blackout, you put the IR lens cover over it, and you could turn your flashlight on, and you could see it through your nods, and they can't, for those of you that don't know what that is. So now they have, I think it's like the vampire light.
They call it the vampire. All you have to do is turn your head.
You turn your head, and it switches over to IR illumination.
Yep.
We didn't have that back then.
Right.
It may have existed somewhere out there. My unit didn't get that. We just got an IR cover. So technology like that is beneficial, and that probably does cost a lot of money to do. And I get it, that things like that will probably cost much more money. But iterating on a 1200 lumen light over and over and over, year after year after year, will only drive the price down because of economies of scale and efficiencies.
Right.
Okay. Now that we've done that.
So with that, let's touch briefly. Or actually, no, we'll get to the rest of the Village Medics comment later.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to the rest of that here in a bit. So now we're going to move on to, skin. Skin and flesh and blood is compressible, as we know.
Right.
Which, so if you saw, it takes about 2.5, 3 turns to cut off blood flow.
Yep.
That is, right? Okay. So what we have here is a solid piece
Of Lucas Botkin's leg.
It's incompressible. This is solid.
This is real, actually. This is a direct,
1-to-1 scale of his
1-to-1
leg.
scale of his thigh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a steel bar, a steel cylinder, if you will, which is solid. It is not hollow. Oh, Jesus Christ, that thing's heavy. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to take another fresh tourniquet, and we're going to go ahead and see how many cranks we can get down before it breaks.
Yeah.
So we saw with 2 different ones that it applied to my arm okay.
How many turns did you do
To my arm?
Yeah.
It was about 2.5 to 3 full turns.
Okay.
Okay. Tourniquets. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Go for it.
All right. So we have our tourniquet. Slip it over the top. We tighten it down as per normal tot in TCCC or by medics. There, okay? So now we're going to take this. We're going to start cranking the windlass here. We have from the top, that's 1/2 turn. That is 1 full turn. We're going to continue cranking. That is 1.5. Do you mind helping me balance this here so it doesn't get knocked over? Now we have 2 full turns. Now we have 2.5 turns. And by now you're crying. That hurts, very much so. Now we have 3 turns. Now we have 3.5 turns.
And again,
I don't know if I'm going to be able to get past this.
let's just see if you could break it.
See if we can break it here.
Why don't you put it in right there?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think you're going to get another turn out of that. And that was how many turns?
That was, I believe, 4 turns in total. Full 4 turns.
On on a non-compressible steel bar.
Correct.
And how many turns did you get on your on your arm?
About 2.5.
Yeah. So
here, let's keep cranking.
You turned it so many times.
Here, I got it.
And because it's not compressible, you can't even get that thing in there.
Let's keep going. Hold it up top too, please. There's another turn. That's about 4.5, 5. Shall I keep going?
I mean, I don't think you need to, dude, because what's happening right now is you did a couple turns on your arm.
Yes.
To completely stop your pulse, right? Now you just did like 4.5 turns on a steel bar, 5 turns on a steel bar, and
let's show the win list.
And you didn't even break it. So how is that going to fail?
Yeah, please explain.
How's the tourniquet going to fail if you put it on a non-compressible substrate and you twisted it twice as many times?
Probably use this again.
Probably. Anyway, that's enough.
Yeah.
I think we got our point across here that regardless of whether you're doing it to a human body part or whether you're doing it to a solid steel bar, these don't break. And what I think he thinks we're doing, and I'm going to set the record straight, is I think he thinks we go and we take some Chinese product and then we go out there and like we just throw our logo on it. That is not what is happening here. What's happening here is we have our own manufacturing facilities that we vet, and then we have our own QC processes that we go through to make sure all the products that are coming off the manufacturing lines from the products that we create are, first of all, there's a lot of initial R&D done here. Sometimes we will actually do a lot of the prototyping here, and then we will contact manufacturers overseas to be able to keep the cost down so we can pass it on to the end user, right?
So you don't have to pay $150 for nylon.
We have a lot of systems in place that allow us to R&D here, prototype here. This is not one of the R&D things that we have done, but there was a lot of vetting on the supplier. There was a lot of QA and QC that have gone into these, that we understand that this is medical and we understand that this is supposed to save your life. So we don't allow products to go out. We have never, ever, in my knowledge, had a tourniquet return or fail in any capacity, right?
Yeah. Not that I'm aware
So far as I know. I mean, I will do some further investigation to see if there has been any.
We would probably have a lawsuit if we did.
I can only assume. Anyway.
And along with that is even companies that you think might not, like you might think, oh, that company makes all their stuff right at their facility. Import records are public.
Yeah.
You can check any import record.
Yeah, let's talk about the TAA real quick. So the TAA is who regulates the
trade
whether or not
administration or whatever.
Yeah, it's they regulate whether or not something is made in America, and to be made in America, over 50% of it has to be manufactured here.
Right. So even if it says made in America, 50% or 49% could be made somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not the way the world works anymore. It's not the way the world economy works anymore. No. And if we want to be able to pass along that savings, then we have to get creative and we have to manufacture in places like Vietnam, South America, China, and here at our facility. And obviously things that genuinely matter, I would never allow our body armor to get manufactured in China, for example. So we manufacture our body armor right here on facility, completely vertically integrated. That's what we like to do because we can control everything from the raw material input to the actual body armor output.
And not to say that these don't matter, but there's a whole lot less that goes into sewing nylon than that goes into pressing a body armor plate.
And as long as you have the systems in place that we do for these particular items, meaning we met and vetted the manufacturing facility, we QC and QA all of our products, then there is no issue with purchasing a less expensive tourniquet or any medical gear for that matter, especially when you're talking about other companies. There are other large medical suppliers
Some
out
that we consider the gold standard.
Yeah, absolutely consider the gold standard. And even LucAss Botkin considers the gold standard because he sells them on his website, which they source from China.
And you'll see right here in this screenshot that I'm popping up that he also knows that it's from China.
because he writes made in China right on his website.
And so like, that's
So
what I'm
what's-
saying.
So what's important and what's not, Lucas? Tell me that. What's important and what's not? It's not okay for the TQ to be made in China. And as a matter of fact, when you attempted to track down the initial origin
Yes.
of these, it was very difficult. I mean, we still don't know
So
exactly where it's made.
I can give a little bit,
Okay.
and I can say to the best of my knowledge, what I have tracked down, and I cannot say anything for 100% certainty, right?
Of course.
I can just say what I have tracked down with import records and conversations on phone calls. So I went to track down where cat tourniquets are made. Cat tourniquets are not made by NAR like most people would believe.
Right.
They are made by a company called Combat Tourniquets. Combat Tourniquets is owned by Resupply Manufacturing, I believe is what it is. I'll put it in. They are a parent company of, or like a holdings company almost,
Yeah.
I would say, of Combat Tourniquet. So anyways, as I'm trying to search through this, I made calls to Combat Tourniquet Solutions. I was like, hey, where do you make them? What they tell me is that they're made in the States, right at their facility. But then I look at their import records, and they have imports from Germany, from a German wholesaler for cat tourniquets, which I thought was very curious. So I'll pop it up on screen, but it's somewhere between 250 to like 400,000 tourniquets that they ordered back in 2019.
Right.
And based on their selling records, they still have
ordering,
this.
so they're coming from Germany.
They're coming from
but
Germany.
The problem is we can't access the.
As far as I'm aware, I can't access German import records.
So we don't know if they were. And again, it just begs the question: where are they actually being manufactured in Germany, or are they coming from somewhere else? Now, let's clear the record. I don't give a shit. It's a good product.
Yeah, and I also want to say I'm not accusing them. Right? This is not an accusation. I'm just saying it's fishy from the trails that I have found.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're asking questions. That's
asking
all it is.
questions.
The component that I really want to address here is what is Lucas Botkin's end goal when it comes to directly trashing companies that are trying to provide quality products at affordable prices? That is ultimately what we were trying to get down to here. Because is it truly the price that you pay that matters?
So, to me, I have a couple theories on this, what it might be. One, he could just be mad that we made fun of him. That's possible.
Okay.
Two, he could just be in bed with companies that are selling higher in like more expensive equipment.
Well, that's a fact.
Yes. And he's like, well, if I need to sell my stuff and people are seeing that less expensive things are working.
Got it.
Why would they buy something more expensive when something less expensive will work?
Got it.
So those are like a couple of my theories on that.
Yeah, and it's a fair theory. So what I would like to do is I'd like to send a formal invite to Lucas Botkin to sit down on a podcast with us. We will go to you, or we can
Zoom you in.
We can do this digitally.
Yeah.
But I am open to a debate so that we can stop this Instagram comment bickering, and we can actually talk one-on-one and address the internet together, where you can genuinely ask us questions or even make accusations that we can defend ourselves on in real time, and that will go back the other direction as well. Both of us will have an open platform to do with what we want. We will both have access to the footage that we create, and I think we should do it completely unedited, so that neither of us, you can put it out there on your platform if you want to. We're definitely going to put it out on ours. We won't edit it to
It'll be long.
Give ourselves some sort of narrative, but I think you should sit down and I think you should talk to us. And if you're not going to do it now, then come by and see us at SHOT Show, and we will set something up where we'll get some microphones and some cameras, and we can actually get that done so you can see so the internet can see exactly what issues you have with us and why, made anywhere else but the United States is such an issue with you.
And also to that, we'll have some tourniquets for you to try.
Yeah, we're going to give you as many as you want to go out there and test them and try to break them. And
and it all comes down to that hypocrisy, like we were talking about, where I can't remember if we already mentioned this, but where he will say made in China bad, but then he will directly advertise and say, hey, get a Holosun.
there's a lot of affordable red dots on the market. There's some pretty good ones. Holosun has some pretty good ones. So there's no reason you can't get a red dot and start training.
And that is not shade at Holosun. They make good optics. They make a great thermal optic they're coming out with, which everybody's pumped about.
I like Holosun. I don't have any issues with things that are made overseas. If I had issues with things made overseas, I would be homeless and phoneless and carless. Everything in my life wouldn't exist, including yours. We all have things.
Which brings it all the way around to, when was the last war that we were in with China?
Yeah. Right.
Because I remember
everybody's
we dropped
like,
two nukes on some place, and we really like those guys.
Yeah, we really like those
they
guys.
Also
when something is made
bombed our harbor.
Yeah, they did. They bombed Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
So when something is made in Japan, right?
Or what about
then it's
about
fine.
German engineering?
Everything's fucking fine when it's made in Japan.
Or German engineering.
Lest we forget that if we're gonna be mad at, I'm not saying go be mad at fucking Japan.
No, fuck no.
But you're gonna be mad at somebody. Be mad at the country that less than a century ago killed thousands of our own. Yeah?
Right.
Yeah.
Do we forget that we literally had Japanese internment camps during World War II? Do we forget that? Is that a forgotten history?
But it's Japanese glass, dude. It's made of Japanese glass.
It's good glass.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. German engineering, love that shit. They did some stuff back in the 40s.
I agree with anybody that says Japanese engineering and Japanese glass is incredible.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's fine. But why the hate on products that are made anywhere else but the United States? Why the hate on products that are made in China when really, we've got beef with China. I get it. They want to see the demise of America.
We
but
also have beef with the Saudis, and we're still getting our oil from them.
Yeah. You gonna stop driving your fucking cars out there?
Yeah.
Is that what's gonna happen?
Stop driving your car because all of our oil comes from Saudi Arabia.
Here's the deal. If I'm being real, deep down inside, I know it sounds. I'm probably never going to believe. It's going to be very difficult for there to be any sort of compromise between, Lucas Botkin and T-Rex and the way that they think and the way that they operate.
Right.
But at the very minimum, I want to eventually put this to bed. I want to come to some sort of a resolution, even if that resolution ends in, okay, we're just going to fucking hate each other until the end of time.
Right.
Whatever. I don't care, but I think it's fair if we actually sat down and were able to have a conversation about everything, because any of the questions that he's ever had, that he's posting in his comments and then deleting those fucking comments, we have answers to. There's a reason why we do things.
Right.
And I think it would just be important to address it. And ultimately, deep down, man, like, it would be cool to be cool with him one day.
Yeah.
That would be great. That would be great for all of us in the industry to be able to do that, because
the end goal is the Second Amendment.
As we can see, we're all still Americans. We're all still same team, same fight. United we stand, divided we fall. That entire thing. I think it's incredibly important that we stop the infighting. It doesn't mean we can't make fun of each other. Doesn't mean we can't poke fun.
Right.
But spreading misinformation and affecting the well-being of people who are trying to defend themselves is somewhere where I will draw the line, and that is exactly why we're making this podcast right now.
Right.
So,
and it's some along the lines too. We might lose some subscribers for this, but this is how I feel. And it's the same thing when we brought up your stupid fucking politics, when people get so caught up in, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm a liberal, I'm whatever it might be. When you get so caught up in that, governments suck, but not all people are involved in that government. Mm-hmm. So you're just going to hate an entire subset of people because their government's trash.
Yeah. So
because American government is fucking trash.
Specifically what you're talking about
so
is,
you hate all Americans?
Yeah, exactly. So if you're not happy with what the government's doing right now, which I don't think any of us are, maybe some people are, most of us are not stoked about what's going on.
No.
It doesn't mean we hate Americans because of it.
Right.
And just as much, we shouldn't hate Chinese people because their government sucks.
Right.
You know what I mean? But what we also should take into consideration is when, Lucas Botkin is talking about, Holosun make great optics and whatever. Go ahead and buy these if you're looking to save a buck. Understand that that's a Chinese company.
Yeah,
that is not an American company who happens to be sourcing from China, who is paying American taxes, who is then putting American people to work, but happens to be sourcing either the raw material or the finished product from another country.
No, it's this company right here.
It is
Quantic.
Yeah,
yeah,
right there. And again, I don't
care.
I don't give a shit one way or the other. But he cares so much about where something is made and not supporting Chinese made items, yet he sells them on his site.
Yeah.
And he pushes a brand that is 100% Chinese owned, not Chinese made, with an American owned company.
Nope.
I think it's just it really is worth saying that, because that in and of itself is important.
Right.
I think any of us, if you said, hey, would you rather buy this from a Chinese company located in China paying Chinese taxes, or would you rather buy this from an American company, but it's made in China that is employing American people paying American taxes?
Right. And it goes along the lines of like, there's the common argument thrown around. Well, we're just doing the Chinese government's defense R&D for them.
Oh, yeah.
You think they don't have red dot technology? You think they don't have tourniquets? You think they don't have nylon?
That rhetoric is a bunch of bullshit.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. These guys, look, like they have high-end military technology. They are a first world country. They have all the fucking things that we have and more, because they have less fucking regulation. They have less things tying them down. Yeah. Right now, when I say regulation, I'm talking about like their companies don't have to worry about the fucking EPA. They could be like, oh, hey, Xi Jinping, this is going to cause like this massive ozone layer depletion. I don't give a shit.
All those straws in the ocean, getting those turtles' noses, that's not coming from America. All our shit goes to landfills. That's from China and India and those places.
Those guys can scale a hell of a lot faster because they are less regulatory when it comes to their businesses. Correct. And their government pumps a lot of money into that innovation. And we do too. We got a massive defense budget. I get it. But they've got the shit. We are not feeding into any sort of R&D over there.
Absolutely not.
No. Not Tacticon, at least. So
yeah. Well, especially when you see Holosun's new thermal optic, which is like the super tits.
Yeah, right.
And then, so let's address the rest of the Village Medics comment. So the rest of that comment read out, selling likely non-sterile gauze. Let's start with that. Do I need to bring up again where some of those gauze are made?
Yeah.
That
non-sterile gauze.
Yeah.
You guys, I just want to let you know that, like, I think I would venture to say that well over 90% of the gauze is produced and manufactured in China. Okay. Now, we are getting some of our medical gear from the same places that other really big brands are getting their medical gear. We just don't charge a 600% markup for it. That's the only difference between us and them. We make enough margin to be able to sustain and run a business and employ Americans, but we by no means are excessively profiteering off of this stuff.
Almost 40 people now, right?
It is a business. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. We are making a profit here. But when you, there's just how much do you need, right?
Right.
How much do we really need to be able to keep the lights on, to keep people employed, for me to pay my own salary? I don't need, 600% markups like some of these companies are doing. So yeah, the gauze, that's a moot point, man.
And steel plates, thumbs up. I feel like we've made enough videos on that at this point.
I'm not even going to get into steel plates. We have so many
videos that we have made showing how effective steel plates can be, how effective our coating is.
Yeah. I have already spent. We have spent enough time with the testing on those that I'm not even going to argue with that.
If I can shoot a plate at, I can't remember what it was, 30-degree angle. So mind you,
you were a 30-degree angle.
If this is 90, 30 is about right here. Right. If I can shoot at a 30-degree angle with a 5.56 multiple times and not have it leave the frag coating.
Yeah. It still gets caught inside of the polyurea frag coating.
Here, yeah. I don't have anything else to say.
There's no argument against it. Here's the deal, is the people that are commenting this shit, they don't make the armor, they don't test the armor.
Right.
All they do is read and regurgitate stuff that they see on the internet.
Right.
That's it.
And it's like I've seen tests before where the influencers will get a steel plate and they're like, all right, we're going to start out with 9mm, and they shoot it like 5 or 6 times. Well, 5 or 6 times, let's just do 5 times 120 grain.
Yeah.
That's 500 or 600 grains of metal already into your polyurea coating. And then they're like, all right, now we're going to shoot it with a 5.56, and you get a blowout. It's like, we have 600 grains of hot metal already tearing away at the inside of that.
Yeah. Yeah. be careful what you guys watch as far as like the body armor testing online, because there's a couple different things that are happening here. One is exactly what you just said, and they're putting so much lead into that plate that eventually it's going to separate the sides and you're going to start seeing things leave. But realistically, at the 10th or 11th shot, when you actually start getting frag out the side, are you getting shot 10 or 11 times in a real world scenario? Absolutely not.
No, if you took 5 or 6 9mm rounds and then a 5.56 with a ceramic, you're going to get a pin.
You're going to get a pin.
You're going to get a pin.
Yeah, I've shot ceramic. We have shot ceramic multiple times in and around the same place, and eventually you will break through the material and you will get a pin. But when you shoot steel, you don't get a pin. What you will get is some light fragmentation out of the side.
And it's the pros and the cons.
It's the pros and the cons, man.
Which a lot of people just can't seem to grasp.
Right. So.
Or don't want to.
Or don't want to.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, I said there was going to be 2 things. I forgot what the second thing was.
I apologize.
It's okay. The other thing too is, all right, so if we're talking about the Made in America stuff, I am going to come out and say this. In business in the United States, it's the law of economics that if you can charge a good thing, if you can charge a certain price, then you should charge a certain price, right? It's like maximize your profit.
Right.
That's the whole thing. I know what holsters make. I know what holsters cost to make, and I want to address this real quick. T-Rex Arms makes an IWB holster.
Correct.
That IWB holster is their sidecar holster, which includes a gun holster and a mag holster. I will
charge the price.
They charge $100.
Okay.
I already looked it up. It's $100, or if you want their anniversary edition, it's $150 for a holster. No big deal. Now, keep in mind that we manufacture our holsters almost the exact same way that they do, which is with right here in the United States, using the exact same material, using CNC machines, very similar methods that they do.
So mind you, the T-Rex sidecar holster,
okay,
without the mag attachment is $100.
Okay,
with the mag attachment, it is an extra $40.
Okay, so it's $140.
Correct.
I didn't know that. Okay, so you're talking about a mag holster and a firearm holster costing $140. Now, I'm going to break down to you what my cost is on making our IWB holster and our mag holster. Keep in mind that the MSRP on my website is $60. And if you know anything about our website, we always have some sort of a sale or a deal going on that can vary anywhere between 25%, which would bring your price down to like $42, somewhere around there. Math.
Whatever.
All the way down to $30 per unit for some of our larger 50% off sales. So you can get our IWB pistol and mag holster for $30. The reason why I can
on a good sale, yeah.
On a good sale.
Yeah.
So he's charging $140. Now, why? I know how much it cost him to make that fucking holster. Because if anything, there's a few more little doodads that go into his holster, right?
Right.
There's he's got that little injection molded part that kind of goes in together so that it hinges.
Oh, the metal piece that goes in.
A little metal piece that goes in and it hinges.
But
so
I mean, you can also compare to the Tier 1, which just has shock cord and rivets.
Right. And we priced that thing out at like $100.
You can get that all the way up to like $200 and something bucks.
So,
anyways,
what it costs to make an IWB holster, depending on the model and the amount of Kydex that it's using, costs me, and I never do this, but I'm doing it right now. It costs me $10 to $15 per holster. That's why I can charge $30 a holster on a large sale and still make a 50% margin. But let's say it costs him $20. Let's say just because maybe I doubt it, but maybe his manufacturing processes aren't as efficient, and maybe that little metal bar thing that goes down in the middle costs an extra $5. Let's say it costs him $20. Now, keep in mind too that I'm in California and my taxes are higher, my leases are higher, and my labor is most likely. My taxes, my labor is most likely higher than you would find in Tennessee, where he is located, okay? And still, my all-in cost with labor is anywhere between $10 to $15 on the holsters. Now, tell me how, if it is indeed costing him even $20 or $25 per holster, would it make any sense to sell it for $140? Well, laws of economics would say if you can charge it, then you should. I totally understand that, right? But this is a piece of Kydex.
Plastic.
So you cannot tout the fact that I charge this much because it's made in America, because it's made with superior and quality materials, when I'm doing the exact same thing and I'm still able to keep my lights on, pay my employees, and charge anywhere between $30 to $60 for my holsters,
in California,
which is less than half the price. And in some cases, it's a quarter of the price that he charges, and I'm in California. So these are the things I want to talk to him about. These are the things that I'm like, dude, if you just want to make if you want to make a large profit on your products, just say, I want to make a big profit on my products. But don't say it has to be priced that way because of the things that we do to make it. Because I know that's not true.
We know the processes.
Because I know the processes, I know the procedures, and I know exactly what it takes, and I know all of my costs that go into it.
Right. We have the vacuum forming machines. We have the CNC machines. We have...
Yeah,
we have it.
I'm using the same raw materials that he is.
We're using the buffers. We're using the vacuums.
Right. So at any rate, that is just an example for everybody out there to show you that even when it comes to, making his own equipment, it's overpriced. It's just period. It's overpriced. There's no reason for a $140 holster.
Yeah.
There's none.
Okay, like you said,
unless our holster comes with our mag holster, right? And then that's all built into the price that I just gave you guys.
So unless, like you said earlier, just like the processes are super inefficient.
Maybe
your labor is skyrocketing because your processes are inefficient.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe it very well could be that we have more efficient processes. We were able to drive that price up. But even then, I mean, even if it cost you 3 times as much to manufacture the product, now you're talking about $45 to make it. You're going to make another $100 on top of that, which is, 60, 70% margins, which is, still a decent margin. I can't tell somebody how to run their business, but I can tell the internet that your shit's overpriced. I can say that. Right. In my opinion, it's overpriced.
I agree.
Like, there's no reason to.
It's plastic.
I don't know. Was there anything else you wanted to cover?
No, man. Nope. No, just I'm over false narratives. I'm over just spreading hoo-ha nonsense. Like,
here, how about this? How about if you don't want to come on to a podcast and address this like gentlemen, then you can handle this like barbaric men, because Nolan, you're open to. Why don't you just make the announcement right now?
Yeah, dude, I'm super down to UFC fight you. Let's get in a cage.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's throw fists, brother.
Let's do it.
Yeah, YouTube
the
UFC
challenge.
Match.
The challenge has been officially
it's
announced.
On the floor.
Yeah. Or even
I challenge you.
So UFC would be preferred. But
I'll also do a boxing match.
We'll get in the octagon. Yeah. But yeah, a boxing match would be fine too.
The reason I don't want to do a boxing match is because I don't like boxing as a sport, personally.
Just not as visceral.
You're using only one half of your body.
Yeah.
You're not able to grapple. You're not able to use your legs.
Yep.
And you're just stuck to your fists.
That's true. You want him to use his legs. Believe me. You'll have an advantage.
Well, I want the full thing.
Yeah.
I want the full pie.
I want the full pie. I want you to bleed on the mat. Is really what it boils down to.
So,
I would be,
talk shit, get hit.
So yeah. I mean, this is the first I think GunTuber call out octagon challenge.
Yeah.
Is it?
I've never seen an octagon challenge before.
Between GunTubers?
Definitely not between GunTubers. Okay. It's been all boxing matches between YouTubers. So
anyway. So yeah, if you want to get that on, start training now, dude. Do some squats, because it's going to be painful for you. I promise.
But to that, it's just be humble.
Right after we got done talking about kicking his ass.
That's still me being humble.
No, people can't control. I mean, you can to an extent, right? You can't just go out and print money like the government can. So, telling people to stop being poor.
That's what I wanted to bring up.
Telling people to stop being poor. Telling people to just go get more money or save your money for this thing. Look, I've been poor. There was a period of time in my life where I have had to live in my vehicle.
Same.
And the same.
I lived in a van.
So I really there's something like deep down inside of me that really, really fucking bothers me when dudes sit around and just talk shit about dudes that don't have okay, look, I get it. Like, if you want to on your own private time make fun of fucking poor people, then it's your prerogative, man. But when we're talking about people that genuinely want to go out and defend themselves and they're spending the very little money they have on defense equipment, you should be congratulating them and promoting them and supporting them, not talking shit about them because they're buying a subpar product that I say in quotes, just trying to get what they can. And there was a time, and I don't know, did we talk about? I don't think we talked about this in the last podcast. We may have, I don't know. I'm going to say it again because it's worth repeating. But I was in the vehicle with a friend of mine at one point in time, and there was an overweight woman running down the road.
Yeah, you said this in the last podcast.
I did, yeah. And that's the shit that I'm talking about, right? Where it was, grossly obese, right? Like clinically overweight, and he just talking some shit, and I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but she's supposed to be the one,
right?
Like, if anybody's going to be out there running, it should be her.
Should be her.
Yeah. If anything, like,
they're doing
pull
stuff.
over, congratulate her, say, hey, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, keep it up. You're doing awesome.
Anyway,
no, thank you, because I wanted to bring this up. This was on one of Lucas's posts on Twitter, because he ran a poll for something, and it was like, why do you still buy T-Rex arm stuff? And one of the answers was because you're not gay.
Cool. Man.
Which I have to say,
yeah,
you're really concerned with not being gay.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments on not being gay, so much so that
it's driving my curiosity a little bit. Anyways, but somebody commented this, and I'll put it up so you can see it. He said, I don't. Sorry, most of the stuff you have is cheaper elsewhere. As a full-time single father, my dollars need to stretch as far as possible. To which somebody replied, make more money then. And then another person replied, better yourself to make more money. Or don't. I mean, it's just life-saving equipment anyways. I buy cheap or used parachutes to go skydiving with because fragility is greater than safety. And so, like, it's stuff like that. So better yourself to make more money. I would like to say that I make a decent wage. I don't feel poor. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm still going to try and get cheaper, less expensive equipment if I can. My money doesn't stretch far.
What?
At the end of the month, I'm still like, okay, I got to budget this out.
And I will look at the internet, and I don't give a shit about standing humble at this point. I give a shit about giving you guys facts. I can, because the business can. The business has capital. The business has funding. And I can buy anything firearm related with the company money and write it off because I am in the business. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
So having said that, I can buy anything I want to. I can buy $10,000 rifles. I can buy $6,000 optics.
We could go buy quad nods right now for $50,000 if we wanted to.
But I could. Absolutely. I have the money to go buy quad nods right now. Okay, first of all, do I own any of that shit? Do I own $10,000 rifles and $40,000 nods?
You have a set of nods,
optics.
And the most expensive rifle was a hand-me-down Noveski.
Yes. Dude, there's no fucking reason for me to have any of that gear. That's why I don't run any of that gear. I've purchased it to test it against ours, and I can tell you this unequivocally, it does not, all that shit does not outperform my abilities.
Nope.
In my personal abilities, going out to the range, training, I cannot outperform with an Aimpoint T2 over our Apex Predator V3. I can't. Like, my abilities don't allow me to do it. Maybe yours will. I don't know. Again, that's subjective. But what I can say is our shit works, and it's like a quarter of the price. So, yeah.
And that's that.
I don't really have anything else to go off of. If you're not in the Discord group, get in the Discord group. We'll leave a link down below if you want to be part of the 2A Pro course and learn how to build your own Second Amendment company exactly the way I did. I will give you the blueprint. You just got to get on the interest list. That link will be down below. And a few last action items before we leave today that are important. Lucas.
Es muy importante.
Podcast. Let's do it. Fight Nolan in the Octagon. Please do that.
Please.
Get some products from us. Either order them or we'll give them to you for free. Actually do some testing. We don't need your input. I don't need you to go put it on your YouTube channel. Like, you don't have to. I am just simply offering you a bunch of items that we manufacture so that you can go out and make a clear, instead of you having to use conjecture and assumptions, you can actually get out there and train with some of our stuff and literally let me know how you think about it. I would genuinely want to know. I don't give a fuck if you make a biased video, and even if it is great, you still go out and talk a bunch of shit. I just want you to get it in your hands so that you can personally see it, so that you don't have to stop making that, so that you can stop making assumptions about our gear. That's it. And with that,
we bid thee
acquiesce.
acquiesce.